Welcome back to another Minecraft video. In this video I'll be showing you this, which is an ender pearl stasis chamber, but not just a normal one. This one's a moving ender pearl stasis chamber. Before this video I did a quick bit of research and I could only find another one of these, and it was by Ilmango, and it was far more complicated than mine. Now this one is very simple. It does require a little bit of redstone to position the ender pearl for it, but after that the machine itself is very simple. It does take a few goes to get it actually running. Oh, let me just get a note block. There we go. So now we have set this machine off and it can carry an ender pearl, and then you can set something up like this to catch the ender pearl later on. The only use I can think of for this really is if someone you know on your server has an ender pearl stasis chamber like this one, you could steal the ender pearl from that, put it on this flying machine and fly it somewhere and then teleport them there when you want to. Okay, so first I'll show you how to build the actual flying machine. So the flying machine is very simple. It's a slight modification to one of the most common flying machine designs, which is like honey or slime blocks like this, and then two observers like this. The only addition to this is then a few blocks to hold the ender pearl. Now, because this can only fly in one direction, you actually only need to use a sticky piston for the one that pulls the flying machine, not the one that pushes. So if you want to save some slime, just use a sticky piston for this one, and if you do this, the side the ender pearl holding thing needs to be on is this side. What you need to do to add the moving ender pearl stasis chamber is place an observer here, then get a regular piston, place it here, and get a honey block and place it here. Now this needs to be a honey block, this one. The other two can be slime blocks, but this one has to be a honey block because we use the feature that a ender pearl is slowed down as it falls down the side of a honey block, and that allows the piston to keep the ender pearl in the air while not firing as often as it would have to if I didn't use a honey block. So this is your flying machine. Like, this is it. It's just this. Also, if you want to stop the ender pearl and then send it in a different direction, say you wanted to position it somewhere specific, like in some sort of trap, you can quite easily do that. You don't have to drop it into water at the end. You can keep it in the air on the piston. This is quite a normal ender pearl stasis chamber, probably the most common design. So if we put an ender pearl in this, may have made it too shallow. If a friend of yours has one of these, what you need to do is first you'll need to raise it up a bit, so that your flying machine can fly without hitting any blocks. Because this is a super flat world, I don't have to raise it up very high. If you were doing this in a regular world, you would have to probably send it quite high if you want to be able to then fly across and not have to worry about any mountains or anything like getting hit by it. So these are the items you need to build the flying machine and the system to position the ender pearl. I'm just going to use a button to like trigger some things. You could use like a lever or something. I would suggest using a button or a lever. This is the lowest our flying machine can go on this world, because there needs to be at least one block gap between any blocks and the bottom of the flying machine. So then we need to go up 2 blocks from that, and on the bubble column here place an obsidian. This flying machine is the one that if I took the ender pearl over there, it would then be easier to take it that way. If you want to send it over there and then send it that way, I would build it the same but flipped over like this. So I'll show that afterwards. So yeah, obsidian, and then we need some fence posts and like a normal block. and then honey block there, and back here we need a regular piston facing that way, and then back here we need a regular piston facing that way with another honey block on it. Okay, so once you've placed this stuff, you need to place water here and raise the ender pearl up a little bit more. Then place soul sand here, and after this you can actually remove all the water underneath here using either blocks or like buckets or anything. Just, you don't need this bubble column here. I mean, it can stay down there, but you need to remove at least some of it. These blocks were just to show some things, and they're not actually necessary. So then what we need to do is we need to build our flying machine. So we need a honey block there. These ones can also be slime blocks, but I'm going to use honey blocks for all of it. I feel like they're a bit easier to obtain. Then we need a sticky piston this side and a regular piston this side. And then we need observers like this, which will bud power these ones. So this only works on Java Edition, like this. You could modify the flying machine to make it work on Bedrock, although I'm not sure if the ender pearl behavior would be exactly the same. Another wandering trader. Oh my gosh, they're so annoying. Die, all of you. Ugh. Wandering traders. Okay, so after that annoying wandering trader, we can continue. Then we need a honey block there, and under this soul sand we need a upwards facing regular piston, and then we need a observer back here. Actually, we don't want to power this observer at any point, so I'm gonna place it like that so that I don't have a block in front of it I need to remove. We need to get our button and use that to push the ender pearl across, and then push the ender pearl across. Now you need to use a button or something that you can place on the side of the piston, and it'll break when the piston extends. That's the easiest thing to use. So now it's positioned like this. What we need to do is get our last observer and place it back here. This will start a clock and remove the water, also pushing the soul sand up. So now we don't need this top part. Anything above, like these observers and this honey block, can all be removed. And we've just got the flying machine itself, plus one observer making the clock. The flying machine is actually ready to go. Let's just set up something to catch it. Now this time, I'm not going to catch it with water and catch the ender pearl. I'm going to stop the flying machine, but keep the ender pearl on the piston. So what we need to do is, in line with that piston over there that's facing away, that's actually the sticky piston, we need to place a obsidian block or any other non-movable block. Then we need to go across 3 blocks, place a temporary block and an observer, and then another observer. So we've made a little clock. You'll see it will start flashing like that. Now our flying machine is ready to be set off. Because of the piston extending and retracting constantly, you have to update the observer a few times before it will actually trigger and go, as it can't push a piston while it's extended or extending. So now this will fly over here, and the clock will start keeping the ender pearl in the air. Now the reason why this one is ideal for then going this way is because it's already in the right position to build the next flying machine to go that way. If we wanted to go this way, now we'd have to use a honey block to reposition the ender pearl. So if we look at this, the ender pearl's slightly on the piston, which is what we need, and slightly on the honey block, which is also what we need. But if we were going this way, it would be mostly on the piston or the honey block, and that would cause it to like teleport the player. Now what we want to do is place a honey block on the side of this piston and up here. Now what we can do is remove the whole old flying machine besides the piston, the clock and this new honey block. We can also remove the obsidian block. Now we place a honey block here, a sticky piston here, honey block here, regular piston there, then the two observers that power the flying machine, and I believe that is ready to continue onwards. Now this time I don't want to catch it with a clock, I want to catch it with a like bubble column. So what we're going to do this time is place an obsidian in line with the sticky piston, just the same as before. Because we're going to catch the ender pearl with a bubble column this time instead of a clock keeping the piston on, we're going to get in line with the honey blocks in the middle and get one block further away than the obsidian and dig 2 blocks down like that, and then place a soul sand. Now if you're not working on flat ground, you do the same thing but sort of create the capture thing rather than dig it. And now this is ready that we can set off the flying machine again. There we go, got a bit lucky at that time. And it will fly over here, and when it hits this obsidian block it will stop, and then the ender pearl will fall into the water and bob up and down in the water. So now we've got our friend's ender pearl in this water, which we can then use and teleport them here at any point. Now an interesting behaviour I found out about the ender pearl when making this is the ender pearl only counts as like colliding with a block or something when the middle of it touches a block. So although the hitbox is partially in these blocks, it's not causing a player to teleport, it's not breaking. So that's how this works, because the piston can push it up using the hitbox, but it won't teleport using the hitbox. So that's why it's touching the piston, but the piston is not teleporting the player to the piston. So yeah, now we can remove our simple flying machine, and we have captured this person's ender pearl, which actually is no one's because I summoned it with a command block. That, or it was mine. I don't remember. Oh, it was mine. Okay. Yeah, it's quite simple. You might need to look at the world download to understand how to build it, but the actual flying machine is very small and simple. But I think that's going to have to end today's video. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. Bye! I hope at least some of you are going to go and teleport your friends into lava using this.